for a courtesy. This is going to be a hectic day. Senator Bennet, you're next.
Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to ask some questions today. Ambassador Tai, thank you very much for being here. I guess I wanted to start and maybe spend most of my time on the Americas Act, which Senator Cassidy and I have now introduced as a recognition of the importance for us to work with our hemisphere, on a whole range of issues. It's not just about trade, it's about migration, it's about economic development. I think Bill and I have found a way in a divided Congress to remind everybody that we do have a set of values here that are pretty shared. I think in the hemisphere, we have a set of values that are pretty shared. And when I'm at home in Colorado and people there are saying to me, how are we going to compete with China? They've got 1.3 billion people and they get to do whatever Chairman Xi wants them to do. We're a messy democracy, and we're 330 million people. And my answer to them is, well, we've got really good trading partners in Canada and in Mexico. We've got the benefit of what I think almost everybody on this panel agrees is a 21st century trade agreement in USMCA. Is there a way to begin to sort of think about how to build that out in the hemisphere? And that is what has led Bill and me to introduce the bill that we have. I wonder, I know you've noticed it because we've talked about it, but could you talk a little bit about how the administration is seeing the hemisphere? I'd be happy to hear anything you've got to say about our bill, but really what I want to do is understand what our strategy is here.
Thank you so much for your leadership on this particular issue, Senator Bennet. I remember seeing you at the City Summit of the Americas that was held in Denver last year. And that was a very visible representation of the connectivity of the Western Hemisphere economies through the lens of cities, and Colorado and Denver's place in that connectivity especially. Here I just start with saying that this particular effort that's embodied in the Americas Act is very much consistent with the values of the administration and the efforts of the administration that's embodied in the Americas Partnership for Economic Prosperity. I think that through both efforts, we are looking at ways to, frankly, become more regionally integrated, to have more of a coherent regional economic identity. I think that the opportunities here are in, for example, the Americas Partnership. I think of the 12 countries, so that's 11 other than us. We have FTA relationships with 8 of them already. Now, they might be bilateral, they might be in groups like USMCA or the CAFTA. But there's already a strong architecture with respect to the kinds of trade disciplines we've established between ourselves. I think the real opportunity there, and I think that this is maybe an interpretation of your comment about USMCA, I think the opportunity there is one, the USMCA is right now our gold standard. How can we upgrade a lot of the rules in these other relationships and bring them up to today? And the second one goes to supply chains. And that's the economic integration piece of it. And I think that, again, in terms of our new, more strategic approach to trade, we will want to look at this sectorally. And this is part of the work that we're doing, the Americas Partnership. But I think that this is also consistent with the spirit of the Americas Act.
It's our job, obviously, to convince Chairman Wyden and the ranking member, Senator Crapo, that this is something that merits the attention of this committee and the Congress. But I do think the benefit of it is that then it will last from administration to administration, which is the kind of predictability that our partners need, and I think, frankly, Colorado's producers need too. So I'm grateful for the work the administration is doing on it. I'm hopeful that we can get to a place where we persuade our colleagues that figuring out how to institutionalize it is important. You think about it, in the last 20 years or so, China trade in this region, in Latin America, has gone from $12.5 billion to $480 billion. That's a 4,000% increase in our region with our neighbors. And that's to say nothing of the infrastructure that they're building and the debt traps that they're creating. I just think there is a huge opportunity for us. I'm out of time. I look forward to working with the chairman and the ranking member on this, and Senator Cassidy has been an amazing partner, and you, to see if we can advance the ball as far as we can between now and the election. Thank you, Mr.
I
Chairman.
thank my colleague. We'll follow up with you and Senator Cassidy. Let's see. The next is Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.